Your feedback. Email your thoughts to wdev@radiovermont.com.
What's up, everybody? This is Freddie Coleman of ESPN. Don't forget to listen to me every Wednesday at 5:45 on the Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV.
The energy.
So the barber trims my beard all nice, like an artist. Now, I didn't tell him to do that. I wanted the beard gone. So then I went home and shaved it off completely after I was done. I felt horrible.
The passion.
Rafael Devers is the biggest contract in franchise history. He needs to be a leader for this Red Sox team.
The opinions on all your favorite teams.
Are the Patriots close to playoff contention? Yes. Are they close to Super Bowl contention? Hell no.
This is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
What's up, everybody? Brady Farkas Show back at it here on a Monday on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Short show today. We are up for 40 minutes. We go up until 6:10, and it's Red Sox baseball, Sox and Rocks. The Rockies come to Fenway for a rare visit. Trevor Story, not playing, obviously, but a chance to see his old mates and his old organization as well. So 7:10 first pitch. James Paxton on the mound. We'll get you ready for that with lineups. We'll talk a little bit about my thoughts on the Rockies as well as this weekend for the Sox taking 2 out of 3 games. You can get in, as always, on the Ayer Auto text line. The Ayers Auto text line. Ayer Auto over in Barrie, over on North Main Street in Barrie. There's multiple sections of the Ayer Auto sales, or the Ayer Auto empire, I should say there. They've got the sales division. They've got the collision center. They've got finance. I was down at Ayer Auto today, and I'll get into that in a minute. But you can get in, again, the Ayer Auto text line at 802-585-3026. They're online at AyerAutoSales.com.
And here we go.
The opening thoughts on the Brady Farkas Show are brought to you by Sticks and Stuff and by Swanton Lumber, Vermont's most complete locally owned home center with locations in Enosburg, Derby, Middlesex, St. Albans, and at Swanton Lumber. They're online at sticksandstuff.com. Couple of things. I want to get right into the Patriots stuff with DeAndre Hopkins, but I was in Boston this weekend. Jess and I were in Boston this weekend. It was her birthday this weekend, so we went down to Boston. We had a great time. But I got to say, I don't know how anybody drives down there. And I am not really I hate being delayed, but I'm not afraid of traffic. I'm not afraid to drive in a city. I just don't know how people do it. How people function on a day-to-day basis in that level of congestion. We were fine. And for 2 days, I think we navigated it well, but I couldn't do it every day. I could not do it. When we have Tom Caron on Wednesday, I'm going to have to ask him hey, so the pregame show starts at 6:10. You probably want to, or 6 o'clock for a usual 7 o'clock game. You probably want to get there at least an hour early, prepare, makeup, etc. So you need to be there by 5. Do you leave at 11 a.m. to get there on time? I mean, my goodness, I couldn't believe it. We stayed outside of Boston. We were 25 minutes away from kind of the downtown, right? We did some of the touristy stuff. We hit up the aquarium. We hit up Quincy Market. And we were 25 minutes away in our hotel. Had to have taken us 55 minutes. And this was Saturday afternoon at 2:30. I can only imagine what Monday morning at 9 a.m. is like. I can only wonder what Monday at 5 p.m. is like. How do people live like this? How do people live like this? We did have a blast. Had a couple of great meals. Enjoyed Quincy Market. Got some good food there. Sampled some things. I had a Fenway Frank at one little kiosk. I had cheesesteak at another kiosk. I tried something else too, which now is currently escaping me. But we did the aquarium thing. That was awesome. And I am an animal guy in the sense of we have a dog and I love dogs. And if I see you and your dog on the street, I'm always willing to pet your dog. If the dog is said to be friendly, but beyond that, I've never been an animal guy. Okay. And I've only been to a handful of aquariums in my life. The aquarium was awesome. Again, it's not something I ever necessarily have thought of doing just on my own, but it's for Jess's birthday. Jess is a huge animal lover. She wanted to do it. We went. I'm okay, I see why people like this stuff. I mean, sea turtles that were humongous. Stingrays, I touched a stingray. I was terrified of it, but I did do it. I touched a shark, a very, very, very baby one, at another aquarium in Rhode Island that we went to a bunch of years ago. Stingray, little shark, saw sea lions, which actually came up and were came out of the water and were right on the glass, like basically waving at you. That was incredible. Then all the other stuff, the fishes. I saw the piranhas. I'm a big fan of the River Monsters show that used to be on the Animal Planet. There was the piranhas. There was the arapaima. They didn't have an arapaima, but it was like a placard up on the wall of an arapaima. I'm like, I've heard of an arapaima through River Monsters. So the aquarium was a blast. And yesterday, we went to the zoo. And believe it or not, I don't know that I've ever been to a zoo before. Again, I was not really an animal person in terms of like anything but like your basic domesticated pets. Like I've never needed to go to a zoo. I think I had a field trip in like 5th grade scheduled to the Bronx Zoo. I don't know if we went or not. So I've either been to one zoo and forget everything about it, or I never went because that thing might have been canceled. But yesterday might have been my first zoo trip. That was wild. Wild. And I had fun with that too. That was a blast. You walk in and boom, there's some flamingos a couple of flamingos were going at each other. I was nuts. I saw flamingos fight. I avoided the snake area. I don't need to see snakes, but like all these different kind of birds with names I've never heard of, birds with names I can't pronounce. The one thing I'll say, and I don't know if anyone else is like this, AR Auto text line 802-585-3026. When I come up on anything that has like you read a panel or a plaque, I have to read it. So like I'm slowing us down at all of these animals because I'm reading everything about it, right? Like you walk up to the animal and there's a sign that says, this is a jaguar. Where are they found? What do they eat? How big do they get? Here's a fun fact about it. I'm holding this up solely because I'm reading every little plaque about all of these animals. I feel smarter today than I've ever felt before. Because I can tell you things about the macaw. I can tell you things about the flamingo. I can tell you things about the snow leopard. I saw a real life snow leopard. This thing's tail was bigger than its body. It was absurd. I walked up on a jaguar and a cougar. And I'm like, this thing's paw is bigger than my face. It was incredible to see these things. And I saw bald eagles and more turtles. And I saw otters, which I've seen otters before. I know they're not rare. But like these otters were the most bleeping amazing otters I've ever seen. I never knew I needed the zoo or the aquarium in my life. I had a blast. I had an absolute blast. Text says, basically, Brady talk about sports. Nice to see Bayo pitch well. My concern is Devers. He seems to be struggling. Devers did homer twice this series, so I get it. Like, he doesn't have a great average right now, but the power production has been there. Text says, the Boston Tea Party and Ships Museum is an awesome exhibit. We did not do that. We wanted to go down. Text says, you walked up on a cougar. Well, it was behind the glass, but we wanted to do what was called the Freedom Trail, which I think is like just kind of walking, but seeing historical sites and artifacts, etc. We didn't get back downtown a second day because it was just too nuts. But it was great. So I had a lot of fun. Red Sox did take the series. That was awesome. Nice hit by Kike yesterday. Great job by Bayo. I watched most of that game, watched a lot of college baseball this weekend as well, kind of in and around our schedule there. Text says, yes, I also have to read the plaques. No one ever wants to go to the art museums with me. That came in on the AR Auto text line, 802-585-3026. That text came in from South Woodbury. Yeah, I have to read like everyone. I will allow myself to skip one occasionally, but by and large, it's almost like an OCD habit kicks in. I've just got to read it. So like, I'll go to the Burlington waterfront. I've been to the Burlington waterfront a zillion times since living here, right? And they've got these things that jut up out of the ground, and there's like the plaques that will tell you the history of Lake Champlain, the exploration, and this, that, and the other. I read them all still, even though I've been a million times. You walk up, there's a historical site in Vermont. It's like, this is where X happened. This is where Ethan Allen was. This is the site of this. This battle happened here. This was a ship was commissioned here in 1700. I'm reading all of them. Whenever I see something like that, I am reading it. I want to get to the Patriots, okay? I want to get to the Patriots. The Patriots are meeting with DeAndre Hopkins this week. The Patriots need to acquire DeAndre Hopkins. Like, they need to not just meet with him, they need to close the deal. And I think it is going to be difficult. I don't think it's going to be incredibly easy, but the Patriots have been given a gift here. The DeAndre Hopkins market has not materialized in the way that we thought it would. Right? DeAndre Hopkins is a Hall of Famer. Now, he's had the 6-game drug suspension last year. That's certainly a hit, but he's a Hall of Famer. Okay? He's that good. The market has not materialized in the way we thought it was, right? We thought maybe Kansas City would get involved. Maybe Buffalo would be involved. And these teams are not involved, at least not right now. So DeAndre Hopkins has been able to has had to open up his mind. And the Patriots are the beneficiaries of that. They need to try to close this deal. It's not a perfect fit for Hopkins, right? There's the Bill O'Brien connection. They've got some turmoil. The Patriots aren't expected to be as good as some of those other teams, but the Patriots have been given a gift. They need to do everything they can to try to take advantage of that gift. Glenn in Brookfield is texting in, and I'll tell you what Glenn said in a second. Glenn has a good text. I will read that momentarily. But Patriots have been given a gift. They need to capitalize on it. Okay? They need to 1,000% capitalize on it. Because if the Patriots want to be serious about contending this year in a loaded AFC, they need to have some dudes. Freddie Coleman has said to us over and over again, you can't just have guys who need to have dudes. And the Patriots have a lot of guys. I don't think DeAndre Hopkins at this point in his career, now past 30, I don't think he is what he was. But if you throw him out there with the collection of other talent the Patriots have, you get better, you get deeper, you get a red zone threat, you get a reliable target, you get a guy it's easy for Mac Jones to throw to. I don't need DeAndre Hopkins to be the burner down the field. Okay? I don't. But I think that DeAndre Hopkins can be a guy who, if he's featured in this offense, can catch 75, 80 balls. Heck, he was productive as hell last year with the Cardinals with like 4 different quarterbacks. DeAndre Hopkins was nearly would have been the Patriots' leading receiver last year, only playing in 11 games. That's how good DeAndre Hopkins still is. Is he the guy he was in 2018? No. But is he better than what you have? Yes. And if you add him to Kendrick Bourne and Devontae Parker and Tyquan Thornton and Juju Smith-Schuster, then your overall group becomes a lot better. You go from a bunch of B minuses to a bunch of B minuses and a B plus. And I will take that. The AFC is loaded. I don't think people, I say that, I think people grasp how loaded it is. The AFC is absolutely loaded. And if you want to compete in it, you've got to do everything you can to get better. This is the last big move on the board. Okay? Frank Clark, I know, got signed by Denver recently last week defensively. That's a fairly big move, actually. The last big offensive move on the board is DeAndre Hopkins. You've got to find a way to get him if you are serious about competing. The Patriots are not better right now than Buffalo. They're not better than the Jets. I think they're close with Miami. They're not better than Cincy. They're likely close with Pittsburgh. They're not better than Baltimore. They're close with Cleveland. They're not better than Jacksonville. And they're not better than Kansas City or the Chargers. And I don't think they're better than Vegas, or maybe Vegas, given Jimmy Garoppolo's health. I don't think they're better than Denver. Like, you've got to find a way to do this. The question for the Patriots becomes, how do you do this? Okay? Ayer Auto text line, 802-585-3026, AyerAutosales.com. How do you convince DeAndre Hopkins if you are the Patriots? That's what I want to know, because you better have a damn good recruiting pitch, because you might only get one shot at this. How do you do this? There's a couple of different ways. One, you throw money at it, which I'm okay with, right? DeAndre Hopkins, I believe, still believes that he's as good as he once was. He's going to want money. Like, money is the ultimate respect of that, the ultimate sign of respect. So if you want to just come out and throw more money at DeAndre Hopkins because you can, then do it. But if you still want to get him on a team-friendly deal, and you have to kind of, play to something in his emotions, then here's what you need to do. You need to go and tell DeAndre Hopkins that, look, you wanted to win. Well, I've won more than anybody else has won, and that's Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick goes to DeAndre Hopkins and says, you wanted to win. Nobody knows how to win like I do. And I understand we're rolling our eyes at that, saying, but the Patriots aren't as good right now and all that. And you know what? I think we're right. But if you're Bill Belichick, that's how you sell your organization. You want to win. I know how to win. I've done it. I've done it a bunch. You're going to come here. We're going to feature you. We've got a young quarterback that you can help grow with. And you've got a guy who knows you. I understand the Bill O'Brien connection is supposed to be a detriment, but you've got to find a way to spin it into a positive and say, hey, the guy who had you at your best, we've got him. And you can forget about any personal beefs you might have, but he knows how to utilize you. He knows how to feature you, and he knows how to get the best out of you so you can give the best to us. That's what needs to happen if you're the Patriots. Don't let DeAndre Hopkins walk out the door. Throw money at it if that's easiest. But if you need to do some convincing, turn Bill O'Brien and his familiarity with you into a positive. Turn having a young, moldable quarterback into a positive. Turn, a winnable division. Now, do I think they're better than Buffalo? No, but with DeAndre Hopkins, they're closer. With DeAndre Hopkins, they're better than Miami, and they're probably better than the Jets. And that's what I would tell them and say, hey, we get you. We are instantly right in the thick of the thing for the playoffs, and we've got a chance at the division. That's what I would do to appeal to them. Now, I was listening as I came back again today from Boston. I was listening to WEEI this morning. I started listening at about 8:30. I listened until 9:15 or so. And those guys were talking about DeAndre Hopkins getting in trouble in Houston and in Arizona because he didn't practice all the time. I ask you, Air Auto text line 802-585-3026, does that bother you? If DeAndre Hopkins comes to New England and gets 1 day off a week at practice, are you bothered by it? Would that be a sticking point for you? For me, it wouldn't. Okay? For me, it wouldn't. I understand the idea of a veteran rest day. It happens all the time around the league. If DeAndre Hopkins signs with the Patriots and says, I will sign with you, but I want one veteran rest day a week, I'm good with that. I like guys who practice. I like guys who go the extra mile. I like guys who put in the effort. I also like guys who stay healthy. And if you are 30 plus years old and the team needs you on the field, then I don't always need you at practice. Okay? I don't always need you at practice. Again, I want you present. I want you part of walkthroughs. I want you in the meetings. I want you engaging with the quarterback. But I don't need you going out to run all the reps when you're past 30 years old. I just don't. So those guys were making a big deal about if DeAndre Hopkins, should be given those veteran rest days. It's different at 27 than it is at 31. Okay, that's just how it is to me. DeAndre Hopkins, I am fine if he gets a little extra time off. I saw Julian Edelman do it. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is 31 years old. He just turned 31. So I've seen Edelman have veteran maintenance days. I've seen Tom Brady have veteran maintenance days. I've seen guys on my Seahawks have veteran maintenance days. Take it. I'm fine. Just make sure you're engaged. It's not, I'm not practicing, so I'm not doing anything. But if you need to be away from the physical toll, and that will get you to New England, I'm good with it. Peter in Williston says it's a mistake if the Patriots can't sign DeAndre Hopkins. He says he's a number one wideout on the Patriots, period. Give him the signing bonus so it's not a cap issue. Yeah, you can maneuver the cap and all that, and other teams can too. I think the Patriots just outright have more money than a lot of teams. Now, they don't have a ton, but they have more money than a lot of teams. If you're telling me, like Odell Beckham Jr. got nearly $20 million, which I thought was too much. But if you're telling me I had to give $18 million to Beckham or Hopkins, I would choose Hopkins in a heartbeat. So I'm not opposed to giving DeAndre Hopkins money. If you want to throw more money at him than anybody else, then do it. But if you have to appeal to his sensibilities, remind him of your affection for me. Like if I'm Bill Belichick, DeAndre Hopkins and him shared that moment on Monday Night Football last year that went viral, of them saying they loved each other. Would say they were big fans of each other. So you've got that in your corner. Hey, DeAndre, you're a big fan of me. Hey, DeAndre, you want to win. I've won more than anybody else. Hey, DeAndre, you come here. We got a winnable division. We got a chance to get to the playoffs. You come here. We've got an OC that knows you and knows how to utilize you best. We've got a young quarterback who you can be a safety blanket. And by the way, I would say this too. Hey, DeAndre, well, not everyone we have is a number one. There are guys here that are good that can take some heat off you. Kendrick Bourne, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Devontae Parker can take some pressure off of DeAndre Hopkins. It's not DeAndre Hopkins and a bunch of seventh-round draft picks. It's DeAndre Hopkins and a bunch of guys who are 2s and 3s playing as 2s and 3s. And that would give him some relief as well. Joe says, I would love Hopkins. He would bring in another veteran leader, which is what the Pats need. Pats aren't close to Miami. I think Miami is in the division if Tua play. I think they can win the division if Tua plays all 17 games. I like Miami too. Right now, today, I don't think the Patriots are better than Miami. If they get DeAndre Hopkins and he's healthy, I think the Patriots are a little bit better. I like Tua. I don't dislike Tua like a lot of people do. But I think that with Hopkins, and now what I'm hearing and seeing about Bill O'Brien's offense, I think the Patriots would take a step above Miami. The one thing I would caution you about is I don't know that DeAndre Hopkins is a leader, right? I don't know that. Based on what I have read and what I have heard, and what I heard the WEEI guys talking about was like, hey, this guy doesn't always go to practice. And his teammates grew resentful of that. The organizations grew resentful of that. I don't know that DeAndre Hopkins is a true leader. Doesn't mean he's a bad guy, but I don't think the veteran leadership is what I'm going to count on from him. I'm going to count on productivity. Kendrick Bourne, I feel like, has leadership qualities. Hunter Henry has leadership qualities. But the Patriots will have enough veterans. I don't think they need Hopkins to be a true leader. They just need him to not be a guy that's going to pull guys in the wrong direction. As long as he's just not a negative in the locker room, then that's fine. I'm okay with a veteran day off every week. Just be present and engaged while you're not physically doing all the work. All right, so Glenn in Brookfield says, Brady, your intro about the beard is getting old. Definitely should go on the Freedom Trail next time you're down in Boston. Well, one, yes, I should do the Freedom Trail. Two, you're right. I said this last week, actually. We are going to change the intro. I will try to have it done by tomorrow. Usually, these intros last 2 months. This one has lasted 3.5. So the intro here is, it needs to get changed. That's on me. You're right. It needs to get changed. And I will get it done, I hope, by tomorrow. We got to comb through the archives and find some good sound bites to replace them. It's really not difficult. It's more just time consuming, trying to figure out exactly what we want to do. But we've had it for 3.5 months. We usually only let them last 2. You're right on that. It is the Brady Farkas Show. We're brought to you by Fecto Homes here on WDEV, your total home solution in Montpelier. We're streaming on Facebook Live and on YouTube Live as well. We'll come back quickly here. This will be a very short break. We'll come back, start to get you ready for Red Sox and Rockies. We'll do the rest of it in the 6 o'clock hour. My thoughts on the Rockies next here on DEV.
Are you looking to get rid of your used mobile home? Here at Fecto Homes, we don't just sell new mobile homes. We also buy used. If you have a used mobile home that you are looking to sell, we can either accept it as trade and apply the value to a new home with us or purchase it outright. We offer fair prices and quick removal of your mobile home. So reach out to us for a quote today. Fecto Homes, 350 River Street, Montpelier, or visit us at fectohomes.com for more information.
On today's edition of The Adventures of Julia, brought to you by Vermont Tire and Service and Cooper Tires. It was a beautiful spring day, and Julia and her two pups, Charlie and Champ, were headed out on a hike up Camel's Hump. She was headed to Richmond on Route 2 when a wooden pallet fell off a truck traveling ahead. Julia screamed and applied the brakes, but couldn't avoid the pallet. The dogs, strapped in their harnesses, were fine in the back seat. Julia pulled and managed to drag the pallet, which was full of nails, off the road. She checked her Cooper tires from Vermont Tire and Service, which didn't seem damaged. But after their hike, she took her car to have them checked out. A friendly text at Vermont Tire and Service said she was good to go, gave Charlie and Champ treats, and they were off on another adventure. Vermont Tire and Service with Cooper Tires have proudly been servicing central and northern Vermont for over 40 years, with locations in Montpelier and South Burlington, selling Cooper Tires and other quality brands.
We know that full bellies at school mean better behavior, better learning, and a better school climate. That's why 40 students came to the State House to urge Governor Phil Scott to enact universal school meals. Through Vermont's Universal School Meals program, more than 50,000 students are now eating together at school without charge. Governor Scott, please enact H165. It's time for permanent universal school meals.
Paid for by Tuss Philanthropies, Gabriel Tuss, Treasurer.
New England Municipal Resource Center, NEMRIC, supporting strong communities by helping local governments since 1986.
Want Brady to hear your opinion on the sports stories of the day? Text in at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM and WDEVradio.com.
So we're going to do more of this in the 6 o'clock hour because we only have a couple of minutes left here before the CBS News update. But the Red Sox are playing the Rockies today. And I was saying this earlier in the year to someone else, and it's still applicable now. The Colorado Rockies, to me, are the most irrelevant franchise in all of baseball. Most irrelevant franchise in all of baseball. Does not mean they are the worst. Okay, they are not the worst. They are irrelevant to me. I mean, I look at the Rockies and I think, what do they really have? Okay, like what causes relevance? Okay, are you good, first and foremost? Well, the Rockies are in last place in the National League West. They're one of the worst teams in the National League. They've been a bottom feeder now for most of the last 5 years, right? They made the playoffs a couple of years ago. I think they lost the Diamondbacks the year that JD Martinez was on the team. So the Rockies have not been good lately. So that's out. Do you have stars? I don't think the Rockies have had a star in a while. Okay, and when I grew up, the Rockies had Andres Galarraga and Larry Walker and Todd Helton, and they had Matt Holliday, and they had Troy Tulowitzki, and they had really good players. They don't have that anymore. Okay, when I give you the Rockies lineup, I can promise you, most of you will have never heard of most of this lineup. Okay, the Rockies feel irrelevant. Chris Bryant is supposed to be their star, and I don't think Chris Bryant is a star anymore. Chris Bryant was an uber prospect who was an NL MVP. He was a star. Now he's just largely injured and expensive. No star. They're not very good. They get overshadowed in their division by the much more prestigious Dodgers and the freewheeling Padres. And they aren't like a prospect-driven team. At least like with the Royals, I can look at it and say, okay, they're bad, but they've got prospects like Bobby Witt Jr. The A's, they're awful, but they might move to Las Vegas. There's at least something that keeps them relevant. The Rockies have nothing. No star, no pipeline for me to really care about. They're not good, and they haven't been good for a while. When I give you the Rockies lineup after CBS News, you are going to look at me and tell me, Brady, you're right. I haven't heard of most of those players. I'll give you those lineups coming up next here on the Brady Farkas Show, brought to you by Fecto Homes on DEV.
WDEV FM1, 96.5 W243 AT Berry, 98.3 W252 CU Montpelier, AM 550 WDEV Waterbury. This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Monica Ricks in New York. Security will be tight tomorrow at the federal courthouse in downtown Miami, where former President Trump will be arraigned for allegedly mishandling classified documents. CBS's Robert Costa's there.
City officials are preparing for possible protests and bolstering security. After the arraignment, Trump plans to head back to New Jersey to his golf club, where he will deliver a speech and huddle with his major donors.
This Trump supporter says he'll fight if Trump goes to prison.
I can't speak for everyone, but I'm going to do everything I can humanly possibly do that's legal before a civil war, because that's what you guys are heading for if you're going to treat him like this.
Tomorrow's proceedings will probably only last a few minutes. Trump is expected to plead not guilty. Crews are still working to clear debris from I-95's collapse yesterday in Philly. KYW-TV's Matt Petrillo says there's a big concern there now besides traffic.
There's about 160,000 cars and trucks that travel along this route of 95 every single day. About 10% of those are truckers alone. So there is some concern about the supply chain and how it might impact that. That's why that proclamation disaster was just issued today, because they want to get this up and running as quickly as possible.
Today's state police also confirmed human remains were found in the wreckage. In upstate New York, someone died when a tour boat flipped in a cavern. Lockport Fire Chief Luca Quagliano.
Somehow at the end of the cave or the destination, that 300 feet section there, the boat became unbalanced and capsized.
8 others were injured. Ukraine says it's reclaimed more territory in its counteroffensive against Russia. Mayeni Jones is with the BBC.
They're focusing on the eastern region of Donetsk and the neighboring area of Zaporizhia to try and regain as much territory as possible. That's ultimately the fundamental goal. But at the moment, they've only claimed to have reconquered settlements. These are quite small villages.
This as the U.S. works to get more info on an American that's detained in Russia now on drug dealing charges. President Biden's recovering from his root canal. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre.
The procedure has been successfully completed. The president is doing just fine, and he'll be certainly working in the residence this afternoon.
Apparently he wants some balls!
Coach Eric Spoelstra is praising Miami Heat mascot Bernie for taking punches from UFC star Conor McGregor in Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Those jabs sent him to the emergency room.
We won't reveal who that is, but he's tough. You can take a punch and get back up, and yeah, he's not going to miss any time.
Game 5's later tonight in Denver. The Nuggets lead the series 3-1. This is CBS News.
Need hires who dazzle without the hassle? You need Indeed. Their powerful platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
At Union Bank, they've helped local businesses and municipalities since 1891 with a full suite of commercial and municipal loans and services. Union Bank is local, so they can act quickly, provide personalized customer care, and have the personal, commercial, and municipal banking services that you need. Now, for a limited time, lock in a 9-month CD at 4.50 annual percentage yield and 4.40% interest rate. This offer is available online only. See website for details at ublocal.com. Union Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Waterbury invites you to think local, buy local, and be local by experiencing a rich history, arts, and culture. Enjoy a self-guided walking tour of our historic downtown and keep an eye out for our arts installations, creative window displays, open studios, and galleries with rotating exhibits. Pop into the Historical Society to view artifacts and stories from the past. Learn how the community rebounded after the Great Flood of 1927 and again in 2011 after being struck by Tropical Storm Irene.
Stowe Street Emporium, a locally owned gift, apparel, and accessory store featuring an abundance of fun, eclectic, and unique pieces. We are open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 11 to 5, and Sundays, 11 to 3. So see you soon at 23 Stowe Street in historic downtown Waterbury.
The Wine Vault, an approachable wine shop. We take the snobbery out of wine. With over 1,000 bottles to choose from, we feature the classics of Napa to the funk of Slovenia. The Wine Vault is located on Elm Street in Waterbury, across from Propane. See you at the vault.
Local businesses advertise with WDEV because they get results. Glenn Meek of Stowe Insurance Group tells us why he advertises with WDEV.
We're heavily involved in the community like we like to be. We feel they're an excellent partner for our advertising dollars. The market penetration is second to none in Central Vermont. We've been with them for almost 40 years, and we hope to be with them for another 40 years.
Advertising with WDEV gets results. Inquire today at WDEV at radiovermont.com.
The Brady Farkas Show now has an interactive text line, so reach out now at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. Do you remember last year when Dennis Eckersley said that the Pirates were a hodgepodge of nothingness? Do you remember that? The Pirates and Red Sox played each other last year, and the Pirates were really bad, and they were a collection of just a collection of spare parts, really. Man, I'm trying to think. Man, I can't find it, but I had it in here at one point. Yeah, he said the Pirates last year were a hodgepodge of nothingness. That's kind of how I feel about the Colorado Rockies. So the Rockies will come into this one in last place at 27-40. The Red Sox will be in last place at 33-33. Pitching for the Rockies is our old friend Connor Siebold. Okay, he couldn't hack it here. He's in Colorado. He's 1-2 with a 5.10 ERA. This is the lineup for the Colorado Rockies. Jurickson Profar leads off in left. He formerly of the Rangers and Padres and A's. Ezekiel Tovar is at shortstop. He is the one prospect to be excited about when it comes to Colorado. He's a light-hitting defensive infielder. He does have 27 RBIs with 5 homers. He's hitting .253. Ryan McMahon is playing third. He's hitting third. The catcher is a pretty good player, but he's a guy no one's ever heard of. His name is Elias Diaz. He's the cleanup hitter. Randall Grichuk is the DH. Nolan Jones is at in right. The new guy, another prospect, Coco Montes, is in. He's 26 years old. He's a prospect, but he's not like a 20-year-old prospect. Then they've got a first baseman that no one's ever heard of by the name of Elihurius Montero at 24 years old. And then their center fielder is a guy also no one's ever heard of by the name of Brenton Doyle. This is the Colorado Rockies. I'm sorry. They feel like the most irrelevant team in baseball to me. Again, not the worst. Okay? There are teams worse than them, but the Rockies feel irrelevant. Okay? The Nationals are bad. They're building around a young prospect core. At least I can tell you that C.J. Abrams is there and Mackenzie Gore is there. And they've got this guy Green in the minor leagues and Robert Hassel in the minor leagues. And there's a lot of stuff there from trading Trey Turner and trading Max Scherzer and trading Juan Soto. There's a lot of stuff there to be excited about. The A's have a relevance given about how bad they are, historically bad, and that they might move. The Royals are potentially historically bad, and they've got some young prospects. There's things that make those teams at least interesting to talk about. The Rockies are the least most interesting team in all of baseball. They are the least most interesting team in baseball. It is that simple to me. Okay, least interesting team. James Paxton goes for Boston. He's 2-1 with a 3.81. Jaron Duran leads off today. He's in left. He's hitting .281 now. Alex Verdu goes in right. Justin Turner's the DH. Rafi Devers is at third. Adam Duvall's in center. Tristan Casas is at first. Christian Arroyo is at second. Connor Wong is the catcher. And Kike Hernandez is at shortstop. That means no Masataka Yoshida today for the Red Sox. That's disappointing. You know, I'd like to play these guys coming into a opener of the series, right? I like to put your best foot forward in game one so you can come out, take game one, and have a chance here to win the series in game two. I hate playing from behind the 8 ball. This Red Sox team is better than this Rockies team. The Red Sox should win this series no matter what, but I would have rather seen Yoshida playing today. I would like to see him play over Duran, frankly, today. Although Duran, I'm still in favor of letting him play. I would like to see Yoshida here in day one. That's going to do it for us here on the Brady Farkas Show. I did have a great trip to Boston, but it is great to be back. Thanks to everybody who got in on the Air Auto text line, 802-585-3026. I went to Air Auto today and kind of saw their operation. just magnificent stuff. You're going to be learning more about them because I'll be telling you more about them. I certainly chose the right field of work, by the way. They make everybody feel like they belong, but I certainly do not know my way around a body shop. That's for sure. We'll have some fun with that. You'll learn more coming up tomorrow.